Hello and welcome back. Sorry, I surprised myself with that intro. It was so loud. Welcome back to the Gayming Podcast Live. I'm your host, Miabyte, and we are here every 2 weeks to talk gaming stories, news, and gossip with your favorite content creators. Well, not just content creators. We have other special guests too. But before that, I am joined every podcast by an awesome guest host. And today, we have a wonderful individual filling in for Robin, this DigiPride special podcast, because unfortunately Robin is sick. We have the amazing, the fantabulous. Is that a word that exists? Maybe. Luke Boogie, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
The fantabulous Luke
The
Boogie.
fantabulous Luke Boogie. That is your name now. That's like your superhero name.
Yeah.
Like the Amazing Spider-Man, you're the fantabulous
Luke Boogie. Yeah, I'm gonna have it
And if-
splashed in front of a comic any day now.
Exactly. I want to see that comic book cover. How have you been?
I've been wonderful, to be quite honest. I was very brave this weekend. This Saturday at the ripe old age of 28, I decided to get my ears pierced. Like,
Ooh,
yeah, and then I realized.
Wait. Well, let me see. Wait, are they under the things? Oh, very nice. I mean, I'm assuming those are just your studs. You got to keep those in for a little bit, right? You got to clean them up and do all that stuff.
But I had this really fun thought afterwards. I was like, oh, look, see, all like at least Monday to Friday from 1:30 onwards, you were in a headset. So it's gonna be a really fun recovery time for you.
Yeah. That's that's not necessarily gonna be ideal. I remember like, oh god, I don't want to go into like gross details about ear piercing and like the recovery period for that. But like it's just last time I did it, every time that I get my ears when I got my ears pierced, when I started transitioning, I got my ear pierced in primary school, and then I got the other ear pierced when I started transitioning. But I forgot to keep my studs in, not during the recovery period, just in general. Like so many times my ear has closed back up and I've had to force it back open again.
No,
I just haven't worn earrings in that long.
Mistakes.
Yeah, very, very rookie mistake.
Just a reminder for everyone here, you can grab us live and interact with the podcast both here in Twitch chat and the special dedicated section of the Gaming Magazine Discord. And of course, don't forget to keep up with all the latest news and features from Gaming Magazine by visiting us online at gaymingmag.com.
Hell yes. Now, it is DigiPride here across gaming, across all of gaming at the moment. For the next several months, I believe it ends at the end of August, because, you know, Pride isn't just in June. You can check out everything that's coming up for DigiPride at gaymingmag.com/DigiPride, but it also means that we can welcome not just one, but two amazing special guests on the podcast today. And Luke, you have the first special guest.
Yes. So this week, our first guest is Jenn Panattoni from Xbox.
Hello, yes.
Jen.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you're muted.
Jen, you're muted.
Still muted. Why are you muted? It might be.
I'm on mute. That's so fun.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm so sorry.
Wait. Nothing happened.
Nothing
The
happened.
amazing Jenn Panattoni, everyone.
Yay!
I wanted to make sure it was just as bright and as loud as yours, because you were so just amazingly chipper. I know it's really late over where all you are, so thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
It's amazing to have you here. Of course, you're a wonderful individual who works over at Xbox. Xbox is one of the sponsors of DigiPride. Massive thanks for that, by the way. So what we're going to do today is get to know you a little bit better and everything that you do a little bit better. So you are the head of social impact over at Xbox. Tell us what that entails. What do you get up to as the head of social impact?
Absolutely. But before I even get started, I'm just going to give a big, huge thank you, digital hug to Charlie over at Xbox UK. None of this would be possible without her. She is my hero, and I just love everything that she does. So I'm so thankful for her, you know, continuing this relationship, continuing this partnership. She is like, if you took, I think, angel tears and like the emotion of happiness and kind of combined it and said, hey, I want this to create a person, the output would be Charlie.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Charlie is a wonderful individual we've had on the the podcast before. That was not scripted at all. As Charlie in chat, I was surprised by it myself, but it is a wonderful share of emotion there. Charlie is, of course, a lovely, lovely individual, and I'm so glad that we've gotten to work with her here at Gayming as well across several years now, I think. So it's been amazing. But more about you, Jenn. I know Charlie's great. Charlie's fantastic, but
we love Charlie.
This is about you right now. So can you tell us more about what you do at Xbox?
Happy to. So as the head of social impact, I oversee and started the social impact team. And I'm going to really emphasize team throughout this whole thing, because this would not be possible without every single individual who comes together to make all the moments we do for social impact come to life. And what social impact means to us, we have a few different things that kind of roll up to my broader team. And so we have nonprofit partnerships and nonprofit fundraising, because not every partnership with a nonprofit is fundraising. Some of them are awareness. We got people to donate a bunch of blood because we put an awareness in State of Decay 2. So
wow, that's really cool.
If you had told me zombies at the beginning of a pandemic would encourage 169,000 people to sign up and go donate blood, I don't know that I would have believed you, to be very honest.
Unbelievable.
It's an incredible achievement, though. Well done.
Wild. It's wild. So we have a bunch of amazing stuff going on for nonprofit partnerships. We also have sustainability marketing. So you've seen we launched the brand new sustainability hub at Xbox this year, talking about our commitments to making the world more sustainable, reducing waste, etc. So you can go check all that out. It's amazing. And then cultural campaigns. And so if you see Xbox celebrating International Women's Day, International Day of the World's Indigenous People, Pride, my team works across this giant V team that represents the entire Xbox business. And we all come together on a weekly basis to be like, hey, this is the moment we are working for. This is the centralized marketing that we do. But it's also interesting because the team, obviously there is a moment, there is Pride, and Pride happens at different times actually throughout the year in different marketplaces. But it's not just about that one moment. To Xbox, we believe in respectful representation and authentic representation, and it goes on. The work to increase representation goes on year round. So this is something our team, we work with other teams across the business to say, hey, where could you do this? And we have many, 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 many teams doing that same thing, in our products or in our marketing or on the platform. So it's just amazing to be able to represent the hard work of so many people across the business.
That's a really, really wonderful answer. It kind of goes on to what my next one was, kind of. Pride Month is almost over. It's been a busy one for Xbox. So would you kindly tell us what's been happening over there?
Absolutely. And I had to have the post up next to me because there's so much stuff.
There's a lot. There's definitely a lot.
Yeah. But I'm going to start with my favorite things. Everyone ready? The Pride controller.
That is gorgeous. So nice.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple of weeks back on the podcast, but I'd love to get more info on how this came about and how the idea is spread and what made you want to put it on the design lab too.
It was a labor of love. Again, teamwork makes the dream work. Cheesy, but true. This controller, you saw the Pride controller we had last year. We sent out to influencers, and the community, rightfully so, is like, we want this. We want to buy this. We want to have this. And so, Pride for this year started June last year. Actually, we're like, hey, how can we make this happen? We even tried to do some limited runs to see if we could make them work. And we're like, you know what? Instead of just doing something to meet something, let's be more intentional about this. Let's be much more thoughtful about this. And so again, tons of teams across the business had conversations, and then the hardware team and the hardware marketing team made the commitment to put this into Design Lab year round. So you don't just have to buy this in June. This is now a permanent addition to Xbox Design Lab, and you can make it as bright as you want, whatever colors you want. The inspiration behind that, there are 34 flags here from the community, 34 different flags. And each flag is very recognizable. And we wanted to make sure of, if you identify in one of those communities, I'm just going to keep holding this because I love it so much.
Wait.
As you should,
I can
yeah.
hold this up to give you a little bit of a
Exactly.
rest. There we go.
Just right here.
Yeah.
But if you identify with one of these communities or multiple of these communities, we want you to be able to further kind of double down on your your representation and what you and how you identify. And so you can change the thumbsticks, you can change the D-pad, you can change this part, all the triggers, buttons, to further kind of showcase your pride. That's kind of one of the things I love about it the most. And the fact that
I was gonna jump in and say exactly that. Like on mine here, I've actually got like the trans flag colors because I'm trans and I want to see that. I just realized that I've got the one from last year, the backing from last year on here because it has that lovely slogan. Show your pride on every side. That's not available. That's exclusive to last year's one. So I just swapped that out. But this whole thing has just been the process when I actually went and did it. It's so nice to like have those different customizations and like have the metallic options as well, and just like all the shinies, your extra grips. I went all out obviously because I got to be that pro gamer. But yeah, like having that controller be able to represent whatever you want it to represent is very impactful.
Absolutely.
I think it means a lot to a lot of us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the other things we did, we debated, how we were going to give back to the community, because one of the pillars of the Xbox Social Impact team is we don't aspire to do anything performative. We want all of our stuff embedded in action. And this will actually take me to something else from Pride this year. But we made, Microsoft made an upfront donation of $170,000 across multiple organizations and nonprofits supporting LGBTQIA+ community across the world. Yep. And for 3 of them, we added them to Microsoft Rewards on console. So if you have your console and you want to, generate Microsoft Rewards points, you can do that by playing games. Very simple, very easy. We actually have a few punch cards throughout the year from the Xbox Social Impact team. You generate points. You can donate those points to nonprofits and they stay on the console. So we add nonprofits for every community. Because if, for example, I identify as Indigenous, we're adding nonprofits from that community so that I can support my community. Same with Pride. We continue to add more nonprofits throughout the year to be like, hey, is this a cause that you would like to support? You don't even have to donate your own money. You can play games, which then turn to internet points, which then turn to donations.
Yeah, which in turn moves to real action from you helping out. So absolutely. One thing that you mentioned earlier on is that you guys do tend to celebrate Pride year round. Is something that me as a queer person have noticed. So why is it important to you to celebrate Pride? Apologies, all year round. And I mean, what does Xbox do to support that? I mean, we've kind of covered this a bit, but
yeah, absolutely. So for us, we don't just care about communities in 1 month. That is completely disingenuous to who we are. And we, Xbox and the community, we are kind of one and the same. We love the Xbox community. We love the gaming community. We want to reach out to as many players as possible to reinforce that Xbox is a place where you are welcome, you are included, and that you belong. So for us to make sure that we are being authentic and genuine with underrepresented communities is hugely important for us. We actually have multiple different teams dedicated to inclusive marketing and making sure that we're, I'm on the marketing team, so I'll speak to that, but making sure that we are being inclusive and thoughtful and intentional. We actually have a group of intersectional individuals over on the engineering side that actually work with the entire business. And people can take any project or idea that they are working on to this group and say, hey, are we being as inclusive as possible? Are we missing a community? Are we missing something? And are we saying the right thing? So, and are we, living our values? So for us, there's so much going on behind the scenes. We have content creators that come on Xbox Plays on our own Twitch channel operations. We have content creators from every single underrepresented community, and especially in the LGBTQIA+ community. We bring those folks on year round, and it's not about us. It's about taking these content creators and platforming them on our platform and giving them an elevated voice and, showing that there are other people within this community on the service. And then that really brings everyone together saying, this is awesome. I want to, learn more about this content creator, this community. So there's just so much going on. Obviously the rewards and the nonprofit work too, but I mean, I could talk your ear off about this, but I know my time is very short here.
Well, I think, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic to know that like Xbox is doing stuff not just during Pride, but all year round as well. Because honestly, you know, we don't just disappear at the end of June. We're a constant presence, and I do believe, like, again, like just Pride in general should kind of be all year around. We should be visible. We should be part of the conversation at all times, because that's the only way that you normalize these things, that you have like LGBTQIA plus people everywhere you look, with the same with like every other, you know, marginalized community as well. And try and do our best to dismantle that prejudice, that ignorance, just by, again, just being there and being normalized. And it's so great to see some familiar faces on the Xbox channel all year round. But like you said, Jen, I know that you don't have much time for us today. You're a very busy individual, so I'm gonna let you go and say thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about your work at Xbox.
Yeah, the incredible
it's been
achievements that
fantastic
you've
to
done.
pick your brain. Yes.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm happy to come back anytime. Have Charlie and I. It'll be an awesome just love fest.
Listen, that'll be chaotic and lovely, and we'll have to make that happen. It's going to be amazing.
I'm here for it.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, and we'll hopefully see you for that.
See you again. Yeah, see
Sounds
you
good.
soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye for now. All right then, Luke. That was a wonderful, wonderful conversation.
Really informative. Really lovely.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely. And you know what? Like out of everybody, I'm not saying that just because they sponsored DigiPride, but out of the people out there, I've noticed that, you know, like the Xbox definitely does more.
There was
at
a
least they have.
consistency.
I'm not going to throw shade, but at least they have like they have a hat to throw into the ring, unlike certain other devs / publishers who will remain unnamed, because I want to keep an air of professionality to this podcast.
That's what we're known for, professionalism.
Oh yeah, no, totally. This podcast is anything if not professional. So right, yes, but speaking of wonderful human beings and wonderful guests, we have the very lovely Breadwitchery, otherwise known as Harley.
Hi.
Oh, sorry.
Hi.
I was just cradling one of my prized possessions. That's so.
Your prized possessions?
Oh, what's
That's
that?
such a coincidence. What is that you got in your hand?
Oh, well, I'm so excited to tell you all about it. This is an Xbox controller from Design Lab that Xbox kindly gifted to me, and I got to design it myself with they've got a Pride faceplate for these controllers that you if anyone right now went on Design Lab, they could use one too. And I've customized mine so it's like the aromantic flag, and I've got the little fancy rubber grips and a metallic D-pad, and it just,
hell yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
I will say this is a hashtag not expected and hashtag not sponsored at this point. Pride overall sponsored #sponsored by Xbox. But one of the
Xbox
sponsors
knew they were going to do this. I think I like signed my soul away when I was like 5 or something.
This is the thing. It's nice to know that everybody cool got the opportunity to have one of these Pride controllers. I wouldn't want to be one of those people that doesn't have one. Like, you know, it's a good job that all of us here.
To get one, of course, they can just go.
Yeah, of course. If you wanted to grab one, you could totally go.
That's very true, actually. I remember last year when the controls initially came out, everyone was like, I want this. I was one of the people. I was like, I want one of these. Like, they are gorgeous. I'm very excited to see not just the representation, but other queer people celebrating the fact that they can get this little controller. Yeah, it seems small, but I think to a lot of people it's actually
okay. We're gonna move on because this sounds way too hashtag sponsored right now, and we don't have time for that.
It's not.
All right. So, how are you doing today, Harley? Other than, you know, showing off your wares.
My wares. Yeah,
your wares. You are your wares. You're a content creator. You are your wares.
Examine high quality luxury designer.
This podcast so far has been brilliant for the audio listeners, I'm telling you.
But I'm doing very well, thank you. I am living in a constant state of fear that I have lipstick on my Invisalign aligners because I've started Invisalign recently. So if that happens, you know, just be supportive of a queer person this Pride Month and don't mention it to me. Just like never tell me. Just pretend that it's not there. And we'll just, honestly,
you look perfect. I wish the audio listeners could see you right now. But yeah,
I love
at least Yes, we all love the audio
all love the
listeners.
audio
Twitch
listeners.
chat, though, gets to enjoy it because we're live right now on Twitch, twitch.tv/gaming mag. You can come over and check out the podcast, come hang out and stuff. But before that, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna kick off our we're going back to normality for the podcast, the structure that we have, and we're gonna kick off with the weekly recap, which is basically just talking about all the games and stuff we've been playing recently, or the things that we've been watching. But I want to start with you, Harley. What have you been up to recently?
Okay.
Yeah.
So not sure. You say normality in the podcast, so not sure why I'm here. If you want to increase that number, so just a note there. But no, I'm very excited to tell you that I am probably the last person in the world who has played Unpacking. I'm halfway through that right now. I've been playing on Xbox Game Pass, not sponsored, with my partner, and it's been really fun. And I'm having a really good time of it. I almost wish that I was playing it on PC because if you haven't played Unpacking, it's like a organizational, room organizing simulator almost. And I want to be really particular and really color coordinate things. And with a controller, it's a lot more difficult. So it's kind of saving me from myself there. I'm having a really good time with that so far. And I love that one. And then I've also been rewatching Our Flag Means Death with my friend Hannah, which is
everybody talks about this and I've not seen it. What I know it's very queer apparently, but I've not seen it personally. So for somebody who's uninformed like myself, what is it? Because I've heard about it's pirates, but I literally don't know anything about it. Gay pirates.
Yeah. So basically, it's about it's a quote unquote fictionalization, but not really. So there are two historical figures, Blackbeard, obviously, and then a guy that he knew called Stede Bonnet. And the show is basically a fictionalization of them. It's they're not even trying to be historically accurate. They have a great time with it. So, but those people did exist. If you want to learn about history, personally, I just want to learn more about the gay pirates. So I would just watch the show. But it's about Stede and how he's a not a traditionally masculine individual in the 1700s, and he basically, no spoilers, he starts off his own little pirate crew, and he's and I paid them a salary, and we had a rec room, and I tried to look after them, and it's just him being a just adorable, effeminate cutie, and also Blackbeard is in it, and Blackbeard is all black leather and manliness, and they just go on fun adventures together for a good, I think it's 9 episodes, and the thing with it is that it's never. It has a lot of hype around it. The community love it. Most of the marketing was word of mouth because HBO didn't really show up for it. Yeah, when promoting it. And it's got Taika Waititi in it and Rhys Darby, both of who were in What We Do in the Shadows. And Taika Waititi is obviously in everything. But the thing with this show is that, Mia, you have to watch it. It is, the hype cannot prepare you for how good it is. No matter how good you hear this show is, it cannot encapsulate.
You say that, you're going to keep raising my expectations here, and
I can't raise them high enough. It'll never.
I'm imagining queer Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's I feel in it. Better. I guess maybe with less action set pieces, but
see if you sprinkle a dash of camp in there. It's incredible. It's I was the same. My community was oh my gosh, watch it. And I'm yeah, Gay Pirates has been done before. And the first episode, not even 15 minutes in, I was on the edge of my seat. I'm I'm invested. Let's see what happens. It's an incredible show.
Amazing. And now if you watch it, it's been renewed for a season 2. I didn't know that when I finished it, and I was very stressed out. But
that is good. That is a good thing to hear, because if it gets renewed for another season, then it's probably good. It's always very good. Where are you watching that, by the way? Because I always find with TV programs, I don't have a TV license. I don't watch television anymore much. Everything's online for me now. So where would one procure this content?
Well, I lucked out. I watched it while I was in Canada, and my partner had access to the Canadian ways that you watch it. So I'm not sure about UK wise where us law-abiding folks can go watch it, because I think they're taking their time to actually put it on our services, because
I mean there are always other options that may be condoned
piracy?
By the show.
Surely not.
No, listen,
it's very on brand.
We can't condone piracy here at the Gaming Magazine podcast, But if you enjoy pirates and you enjoy a show about pirates, then it's very exactly as you say. It's on brand. It's on brand. But no, don't do piracy for legal reasons. These are all jokes. But yeah, I'll figure out some kind of way to watch it. Then I'm actually really looking forward.
I will
to
check
that.
in like a month from now. I'm gonna be like,
Yes.
hello, Mia.
What did you think?
Mhm. And how was your experience playing with? Did you say it was Hannah?
Yes, Hannah. She's been rewatching it with me. Tears. She cried tears in one scene. And I looked over at her and she was like, "These pirates are ruining my life."
That's amazing. Amazing. Is that everything that you've been up to recently?
The pirates are ruining my life.
Just
They're
the
all that
pirates
I've
are
got
ruining your
going
life.
on. I'm just
Okay,
working. I'm hanging out with my cat and my boyfriends. And just
I
playing
saw
on
you have a kitten. How old is your kitten?
She was born in like September, so I guess she's like 8 months now. Yeah. She's
So
really
cute.
cute. I love her.
Absolutely.
I'll try and
I
pull
saw
a picture for her
pictures.
of her quickly.
Yeah, I saw pictures up on social media, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I saw a
is-
TikTok with her as well. So adorable.
She's so
Absolutely
cute.
adorable.
And she's the sweetest little cat ever as well. She's like super affectionate and like whenever I'm home, she immediately is like all over me, being like, "Mommy's home." And I'm like, "You are the
Aw.
best cat." Okay, here's a photo of her from when she was a kitten. I think this will display properly. There she is.
Yeah. For the audio
that's a
listeners,
lovely
this is
baby.
a massively cute kitten, which is
Mhm.
basically like half white and half like I don't know.
God.
I don't know how you describe
little
that.
cookies
Like,
and cream cat.
Patterns. Yeah, that's
yeah,
a good
cookies
description.
and cream. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And
That's
I've got
that's
that kind of
adorable.
wide eye mid scream thing going on, but in, like a cute way.
That's
she's
how I
really
wake
cold.
up in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that picture right there is how I wake up, just screaming into the void. Luke, what have you been up to recently, hun?
Aside from being a big brave boy and getting my ears pierced, I have been playing a bunch of Core Keeper with my partner, which is like a almost Stardew Valley meets Terraria type game.
Oh,
It's
okay.
honestly
That sounds
really
cute.
good.
That actually
essentially-
like Stardew Valley. I still have never played, but you say Terraria, it's like I could get on board with that. Yeah.
It's this gorgeous
more.
wee kind of pixel game where you are essentially underground, and you've kind of dig out and go and explore wee areas into different biomes and find new stuff and kind of bring them back and upgrade your house. And there's like bosses that you can fight that kind of give you more upgrades and just kind of expand from that. And it
But
just
are there people you can romance though,
Yeah.
like in Stardew? That's the important
see, when I
question.
said like Stardew Valley meets Terraria, that first part was a lie. It's more.
Got it. It's like
So there's
Terraria.
farming in it. There's
Mhm.
farming
It's
in it.
Terraria meets Terraria with farming. Okay.
Yeah.
got it.
What's
Yeah.
the name of the game again? Sorry, Luke.
Core Keeper.
Core
Core
Keeper.
Keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Well,
like Terraria
maybe.
meets Core Keeper. Is
Yeah,
what.
Terraria meets Core Keeper.
Yeah.
If we scream loud enough, maybe they'll actually add in relationships to the game and make it more like Stardew. You know.
Well, there are NPCs, but they're just like merchants. It's an early access, so I mean, if you do scream loud enough
That
at
could
early
happen.
access games,
You
there
might.
is
That is very true.
there is
Yeah.
potential to
We
fall
could
in
just
love. And
do like what
keeps-
I did when I was a kid, and I would like pretend that really minor NPCs had like really deep backstories and
Yes.
interactions with me that they did not
Yeah.
have. We'll just do that.
Your
Yeah.
whole head cannon, but this
Yeah.
this old miner man with the beard. This is actually my husband. It's my partner now.
Yeah.
But I'm so tired of falling in love with characters that I can't actually date in games. It's awful.
And that's why we've got mods.
It's terrible.
I don't know how I do it every time. We don't even know they're unromanceable when we fall in love with them. It isn't like because you can't have them thing. We just fall in love and then later we find it out and we're like, why did we like the one that you what?
This is like
Yeah,
me and
so-
Linus in Stardew Valley. I love Linus with my whole heart, and I just have to accept that Linus will never love me back.
We get mods to get him a house and stuff though, which is
I
nice.
feel so bad. I love Linus. I'm sorry, I derailed this
He's always like,
conversation.
please don't run away from me. Sorry, Mia. Linus is like this homeless guy in Solid Valley who lives in a tent. And no matter how much you increase your relationship with him, you can never like get him a house. He's always homeless. So there are mods that are like, build him a cottage. Like you're like a millionaire farmer. Go get help this man.
Help
Oh my
Linus. He's like the
goodness.
best character in the game.
He's great. He is lovely.
I think the last experience I have of like romancing a character in game and just being head over heels was Rani the Witch in Elden Ring. And when I started doing that quest line with Rani and where it leads to, I was like, Oh my god, you're actually fulfilling my desires, game.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go. Come on. Yes. I don't want to spoil anything. Are we far enough out for spoiler talk for Elden Ring?
I feel like we're not quite, maybe not. People might not have done Rani's storyline yet.
Okay.
But my last experience with romance that I can think of that I was really, really passionate about was Solus from Dragon Age Inquisition. So that went really great for me personally.
Hell yeah.
The egg.
Yeah, look, okay. You called me smart.
I've never played Dragon Age Inquisition, so
I fell for it.
An egg.
Solus is like this bald elf boy who, in fairness, has some really cool
He's voiced
magic.
by Yanto from Torchwood. What was I supposed to do?
It does have a nice voice, and he does
nice.
have hair.
That's
like,
awesome.
He has a cool character that develops, so please play the game. Considering the sequel's coming soon.
We're just gonna throw all of this at Mia. Watch out for me, play Stardew Valley. Play
Fall in love.
Honestly, I've played the first 2 Dragon Ages. I will definitely try and play Inquisition. I'm looking forward to the new one though. That one looks like it could be cool. I want to play
Inquisition's really good though, and I think you'll need to play that to like fully love 4. So
going from what we've seen about 4, I would recommend Inquisition.
I'll add it to the list, the million game long list that every content creator has of games that they would like to play but just don't have time to, unfortunately. Luke, was there anything else that you've been up to before I splurge about things?
I mean, I don't. I'm trying to avoid Xbox topic of conversations because that's feeling pointed. But I was on Xbox on recently playing Dead by Daylight with you, wonderful Bexbomb, and honestly,
you were yes, I saw that.
Oh my god!
Honestly, like it has been such a long time since I laughed that hard playing video games, and I had such an incredible time. Bex is a sweetheart. Like I'm absolutely gonna demand she plays games with me more often. Like.
So just whenever you want. So my DMs they're open actually. So if you press the little envelope button, whenever you and Bex are playing next, just like let me know.
I'll be like,
I love
Harley,
Bex.
guess
I
what's
love
happening?
We got this.
Yeah.
That's actually quite on brand because we will be talking about some Dead by Daylight news later on, but not quite yet because I don't want to skip my week.
No.
How was your
Mia,
week?
what Xbox thing have you been doing?
Well, funnily enough, not Xbox, but definitely linked to Daddy Jeff Bezos, all up in the because we're in the Twitch space. I've been watching The Boys recently. I don't know if you've seen this season of The Boys so far. No. Okay. Well, maybe I won't spoil anything about this season of The Boys.
I didn't love season 2, so I'm really hesitant to watch season 3, and I'm hoping maybe I like it more. I don't know.
Okay, so I have to watch The Boys and like skip through segments. Like I like the show, but I don't like their heavily over reliance on like gore and like shock value scenes.
Yeah,
it's like I just can't.
It's like Invincible a bit in that way for me. Invincible, I think, is a cartoon, so it's okay, and it stops just short of when I get a bit too uncomfy. But like when it's live action, I have a really short fuse of being like, I want to skip. I get it. I know what the scene is. Like I know what's happening. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like and full transparency, my partner, we were catching up in The Boys earlier on, and I said the exact same thing. I was like, there's a lot of violence. Like, I get it, it's like shot value, whatever, and I'm like, there are easier ways, less brutal ways to do murder. Like, why are you doing this? Like,
most definitely.
The show writing though is very clever. It's very, very funny. Like I think it does what it does really.
Harley, I think you'll be back on board.
Okay.
If I tell you that, wait, which season is this? Season 4?
It's season 3.
Is it season 3?
Run 3. Run 3. Yeah.
Okay. I think you'll. I don't. Well, maybe you won't be back on board then. If you didn't like the last season, what was the whole thing with the last season?
Okay, so I watched it with my boyfriend. So I obviously have this thing of like me and my boyfriend are both massive like. I know some people can just like watch a thing and enjoy it and have a great time. Me and my boyfriend are both afflicted with that thing of like, no, I got to deep dive and like really like the themes at play and all that stuff.
Yes.
So, like analyze it and
I'm like an English lit major, so it's the whole thing. So basically I didn't love. Trying to make it so short. Butcher, I think is his name, suddenly got incredibly like weirdly toxically masculine and homophobic, like constantly was being like, oh, fairies and like, oh, you guys kissing. It was really odd. I don't love Kimiko, I think, and the French guy. I found that to be a really weird romance because like she can't communicate with him. So that was kind of weird. But whatever. And also I took umbrage with, and this might just be I'm just reading into it too much, but there was a lot of scenes where I felt like the female characters were being super like at the service of the male characters kind of thing, and it was really egregious. But what would happen would be like, it happened to Starlight and happened to Butch's partner. I'm not going to spoil anything too much, but basically what happens is like things will happen where the woman will do something. It was the right thing to do. She thought it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. The guy didn't think so though. And then afterwards she apologizes and is like, I'm so sorry for doing that. And like, it happens like 4 times where like a woman apologizes for like just being inconvenient and making a choice he didn't want her to make. And it was like weirdly grating. And I was like, bleh. But like, the other like the political themes and stuff like that, I was like, I get what they're doing, it's really good. But like certain things just like on a subjective level, I was like, this grates on me, I don't like this. Like, yeah,
I understand completely. I will say that this current season so far, especially like with the female characters, they seem to be right all of the time in the best way. Like everybody else is messing up and they're making like good decisions. That said, this last episode I just saw where they left it on a cliffhanger. I won't go into spoilers, but I might step back into that territory as well. So we'll see what happens. But I definitely enjoying this season more so than I did last season. A lot of what I remember from last season is literally just all the Stormfront stuff and the fact that they're basically like parodying real world political stuff. It hits a little bit close to home sometimes. It's like, yeah, I can see what you're going for here.
I feel like,
especially with the whole like misinformation campaign stuff, which is like leaked over into this season so far too, in terms of like swaying the populace to be part of something that is based on a lie, and it gets a little bit frustrating sometimes. But I'm enjoying it. I just. There's a little something about it that's just pulling me back.
There's some parts to me that I think they do satire very well, and there's other parts I'm like, oh, this is just over that line where it's kind of questionable.
Yeah, and so this season, some of the characters seem to have lost their damn minds.
I noticed that.
Really weird decisions.
I just hoping that Starlight's okay. Love Starlight. Get her away from Huey. Love Starlight. Big fan. Love Starlight. But
maybe as an experiment, you should watch season 3 then. You might find it interesting from an analysis point of view.
Oh boy. But I do think that like with the boys, like I can't think of a show that is doing what it's doing in terms of the satire and like just how on the nose it is. So I do like it for that. Where I'm like, I can't think of a show that's doing what you're doing, and when you do it, very often it's well. So
did anybody watch Ms. Marvel? I'm not going to talk about it if nobody's watched it.
No, sorry.
No,
it's okay. The only thing I will say,
there's
a reason. I mean, it's Disney, so that's enough reason to be fair.
Not necessarily that. Like I'm not like a huge Disney or MCU fan, right? But the Wanda one went on Disney Plus, the Doctor Strange, whatever, right? And I was watching the movie, and I finally got to the end of it, and I was like, wait a second, like, I was kind of remembering there's a lot of articles about Miss Marvel, how it was like performing poorly and X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, well, if no one's seen this movie where she is introduced, because it's not live
different. It's a different character, I think. It's
a different character.
It is
America Chavez.
Yeah, America Chavez is she does have Marvel in her superhero name though, I think. I only know her as America Chavez, but no, it is a different character.
Yeah, that's different. But I will say that Ms. Marvel been really, really fun so far. It's kind of like a combination of like Scott Pilgrim versus the World and like Turning Red in terms of like the style. It's very cool. Yeah, it's very, very cool. And like obviously it's telling stuff from her point of view, which you don't usually get like that experience in shows like this, because obviously it's showing her as a I believe is she Pakistani Muslim? She may be. I might have to double check.
I think she's definitely Muslim, because I've seen
she's
people that
Muslim.
I know who are Muslim talking about it. Yeah, I think for me, I felt really bad because I know again there is a really low viewership for it compared to their other TV series, and obviously it's like it's frustrating because we want shows that are like about these people to succeed and that kind of thing, of course, and. The thing for me, and I feel awful for me, I don't, because like I think I don't think that Disney didn't set it up for success. I think like Shang-Chi, they didn't set Shang-Chi up for success, but Shang-Chi blew it out of the water, and Disney was like, oh, whoopsies, yeah, no, watch this one, and like deserved stunning. With Ms. Marvel, I don't love watching things that are about teenagers when like the demographic is teenagers. Like even Euphoria is like kind of for adults, but I still don't love watching it. Like I just don't like watching teenagers do stuff mostly. Like I don't know why. I'm just like, no, you're for your own age. I'll go watch Russian Doll in the corner. Excuse me. Like I don't know
I'm
why.
kind of the same actually. I think that actually the name, like, I maybe break the mold a bit for Stranger Things, like in Stranger Things. I mean, yeah, they're teenagers, but it's just a really good show. Like, I just really enjoy it.
I think there are like a
like
bunch
the
of
older
different
characters.
perspectives in Stranger Things as well. Though, so you have the adults and you
Yeah.
have the kids and like the teens in between. So you kind of get all aspects there, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, no, I always liked the older characters in Stranger Things. I think I was
Yeah.
always like kind of zoned out for the kid plot lines, and then Will would come on screen, and I'd be like, "Whoa, but you can act." But
Definitely. Did you watch Turning Red, both of you, by the way, or is that something that you missed out on?
I want to. I haven't yet. I need to.
It's very good. I enjoyed it heavily.
Watch it.
It has a lot.
Cried at the end.
Yeah, I cried too. Like it has a lot of early 2000s growing up nostalgia in that era. So and like the soundtrack is the soundtrack to my life. God damn, it's so good. Like it's very like internety, like bubble kind of pop. I don't know how to describe it, but it was the kind of music I was listening to back in like 2015, just before I jumped on and started streaming on Twitch. But it's like, yeah, it's very, very cool. It's like an Asian kind of fusion in terms of the music as well, with that kind of like internet aesthetic, which is very, very cool. Definitely worth watching Turning Red. The reason I bring it up is because like it's to me, it's very similar to Ms. Marvel here in terms of like it's a show / movie that focuses on a character that people can't necessarily relate with because it's not their experience. But I do really think if you don't watch it, you are missing out on a little something there. Especially Ms. Marvel so far has been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun seeing them dive into like different aspects of the MCU that they don't usually dive into, and I can really tell at this point it's people may be like burnt out on Marvel stuff or like Disney stuff in general. Like the amount of Marvel and the amount of like Star Wars that has been out, it's so easy to get burned on it. It's still fun.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's one of the better shows, the Disney Plus shows I've seen in terms of Marvel. Like a lot of them have been very mid.
Yeah, there are some mid ones. I think the thing that, again, with Turning Red and like Ms. Marvel as well, I think it's one of those things where white people can watch like pick something about like a white American kid or a white Australian kid or a white British kid, and they don't go, oh, I don't really relate to it. It's not like my experience, my culture. But the second that it's like an Asian kid in Canada or like a Pakistani American girl, it's suddenly like it's very other to them. So like, oh, I can't relate to that, so I want to watch it. And I'm like, but you're also not Maddie Perez from Euphoria, or what do you mean? Like,
exactly. People can relate to physical toys like running around in a space.
Yeah,
can't relate
you're
to
a fish. You're not a clownfish.
A teenage Asian girl. It's very it's very weird like that.
Have you considered empathy? Like, basic human emotion.
Have you considered not being a bigot? Maybe that would help you
really
get over.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. Right. So we're actually gonna move on from. Actually, no. We're not gonna move on for this because I did do one other thing. I played Power Wash Simulator. I played a bunch of different games this week, and more chill stuff like Minecraft and stuff. But I played Power Wash Simulator for the first time, and it was just so nice just to jump into a space and just clean it up. It was so relaxing.
That recently,
I think there is DLC for it. There's 2-player co-op now, so I jumped in with yeah, it's fun. Like the first experience I had was like just cleaning the van first and getting used to it. But I jumped in with a friend of mine, Tanandra, who is another VTuber, and we just literally just chilled out on stream and just washed the house. It was great. It was absolutely. I jumped up on the roof. I wrote some expletives in the dirt. And and then I just slowly like cleaned that roof off while Tan like cleaned the bottom, and we just had some really nice conversation doing it. Very relaxing.
Nice.
Definitely worth doing it. It's I feel like I don't really do ASMR. There's like ASMR for my eyes and my soul more.
Yeah.
So
Do you like simulator games like generally, like like House Flipper?
I don't play a lot
of
simulator games. No, I don't really see the appeal of them all that much. I guess I'm trying to like rack my brain for like a simulator game that I've really been into, but like I don't really play them all that much, and nothing really comes to mind. So it's kind of nice, like to exist in a space and do a simple task But I say simple task. I mean, you have different nozzles and stuff that you can choose with intensity, but you just do a task and like it really hooks into the ADHD part of my brain, which is like hyper focus. And I could just do this one thing, which is
that's so interesting to me because I tried Plane Simulator when it was like people were streaming it, and I was like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna see what it's like. And I streamed it for like maybe an hour and a half or whatever, and I felt the entire time like my brain was on fire. I'm like,
or for train simulator,
happening.
Or
no, the cleaning simulator.
Oh, the power simulator. I thought I heard train there for a second. I'm like, if I had to do a train simulator, my brain would explode. You couldn't like really? You found it hard to
Like,
I mean, I think it depends. Like, for me, before I was medicated, I had trouble focusing on games that weren't like just constantly like. I played lots of match-based games like Dead by Daylight, Overwatch, things that like would end and be new. But ever since I've been medicated, I've been able to like focus on longer-term things. So I think everyone's like hyper-focus levels kind of like fluctuate.
Everybody has a different experience.
Definitely.
I would recommend it, but I guess I really think it probably depends on what you like to, because like I really love auditory sounds sometimes that relax me. Like I'll go to bed listening to rain and stuff. So when you're just like blasting that water and you have those sounds just like constant, it's like I just really like this. I'm just
and like talking to somebody as well, like to like doing a co-op as well must be like good too, because it's like so one. So if you were streaming it solo, maybe that was part of why.
I probably like if I was streaming it solo, I have no idea what I would talk about. Like I wouldn't be able to like hyper focus on what I do, and I'd just be looking at chat, going, "Okay, chat, now I'm washing a house. What do you want to talk about?"
I've made a checkerboard of dirt. Like, what next?
Do you guys like pineapple on pizza?
Yes, that's it. Have you heard of the game?
Oh my God.
By the way. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. And let's move on to a section we like to call bite-sized news. This is exactly what it sounds like. We go over everything gaming in the news recently. So we got some more information on, funnily enough, Dead by Daylight's new dating sim game. We haven't talked about this on the podcast before, but I think it was like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that, Dead by Daylight had its anniversary stream where they announced a bunch of new things. And one of the things that they actually announced was a Dead by Daylight dating sim with some wonderfully anime-esque interpretations of the killers in the game.
I'm all for.
Yes. I know you both have played a lot of Dead by Daylight. How are you feeling about
like 1,000 hours in that thing?
How are you feeling about Hooked on You, I believe it's called, which is a great pun.
It's a very fun twist for the brand, personally. Like Dead by Daylight's like this grim, dark, you're getting chased by this scary murderer, run away, whatever. So this whole bright, sunny beach, like dating sim, the whole like flip to me is just so funny. But I think it's going to do very well. I think because of that whole aspect, I think it's going to do very, very well.
Yeah.
And I think that... Oh, sorry, we're going to see me here?
No, I was going to say, go ahead.
I think that, because definitely Dead by Daylight, when it comes to... I mean, the game itself, definitely like super spooky and stuff, but I do appreciate how the devs have always been... I've played it like since the start, like since launch, and they've never really taken themselves like too seriously. Like there's always like fun charms, like fun stuff, like social media is like always like fun and light, and I think that's like really helps with like a sustained like attachment to the brand, because like it just makes it like more human, that kind of thing, you know. So fun. And I'm really excited for the visual novel, because I think that like I was surprised, because I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it got announced in like May-ish, and I'm used to games using the visual novel spin-offs as a bit for April Fools, which like can be funny, because I get that visual novels are very like campy and fun and light, and like there's lots of like ridiculous ones out there, but it is like a bit minimizing of visual novels like as a genre. So seeing that it's like a real game. They've the developer is PsyOp, and they've done some really adorable visual novels in the past. And they've also, I've seen Behavior recently hired a influencer manager who did influencer management for Perfect Garbage's game Love Shore, which is another visual novel. So it's just like they actually really do care about like making it a good dating sim, and not just like a good joke. It's a good dating sim like in itself, and that's really exciting.
I'm interested in seeing like how in depth that they go with this. I know that there's at least four romanceable characters in the game. I believe it's the Spirit, the Huntress, the Trapper, and the Wraith are the four that they've included. So I'm actually like super excited to see if there's like more in there. I know that there are certain survivors as like people who are working on this island resort. I believe it's maybe Claudette and
Dwight, I think.
Dwight,
I think Dwight and Claudette,
yeah. Sorry, I'm not a massive Dead by Daylight. I've played it, but I can't remember any of the characters or anything like that. But there'll be going to be like a bunch of different mini games in there. I believe there's like a skill check cooking mini game because obviously Dead by Daylight, you got to have your skill checks. And there's also spin the bottle too. I'm very excited about that. It's probably just going to be part of like the general narrative. But
look at the Trapper. Look how excited he is for those smooth on his little bony little lips. He can't wait.
It kind of looks a bit like Rani.
I was about to say like Rani. Yeah.
Legit.
They know what they're doing.
I'm really excited to see if they have like what the character relationships are going to be like, not just with the player, but with each other too. I want to see how these killers relate to each other and treat each other. And
I hope
want to
it's like Monster Prom, where you can like walk in on them, like talking to each other and doing stuff.
Oh, that would be really cool. Yeah, I really want to see if like Bubba is over at the grill cooking or something. Probably not, because I don't know if the licensed characters will be able to make it into this title. Probably not. It's probably just going to be the originals. But I want to know, like, how is the entity going to play in? Like, what is this?
What if the entity is the narrator?
Yeah, what if the entity's like Cupid? What if the entity's like doing the matchmaking?
Oh my god! I mean, yeah,
matchmaking. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Amazing.
If anyone asks if I meant that joke, and it didn't take 3 seconds after to get what you said.
No, you like had like a straight face, and I was like, "Oh, really like staying, not breaking at all." Damn.
You plan that completely, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, you said earlier on about like Bubba at the grill and stuff, but there is a perk called barbecue and chili. Like, there'll be lots of like we fun references and jokes like that in the game that I think a lot of the
I hope there is going to be a lot. I really hope there is. And if even for somebody like me, who's not like super into Dead by Daylight, I love like certain like weirder dating sims. I don't know if you played what is
You're gonna say Cromwell Sandals, I swear.
No, I'm gonna say Sucker for Love. I'm gonna say Sucker for Love. It was the Eldritch horror dating game.
I'm googling that in this variant.
Yeah, let me.
Yes,
I'm intrigued.
It's not as like in depth as other dating sims, but it is so good. And like from then, like I want like all the horror dating games. Like, just give me all these abominations that should be killing me, and just let me smooch him. Let me smooch him.
Everyone wants to kiss a monster. If you don't, you're lying.
Yes. I mean, have you ever seen that film? What's that film with the fish?
Shape of Water.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm just going to play that in the background as well real quick. So we've actually got the trailer here. I'm just appreciating, for the audio listeners, I'm appreciating the amount of effort that's gone into the animification, cartoonification of these characters, and how, I mean, look at Huntress.
Look at the Huntress. Look at her.
Muscle mommy.
My boyfriend this very instant. I can't compete with this. She's too fit. Look at the Spirit. Look at her little.
No.
There we stand. So cute.
It is gonna be so good. It's going to be so good. Well. I'm very much looking forward to it. Funnily enough, that we mentioned Dead by Daylight, we have a little bit more Dead by Daylight news, right?
So David Kingsley, thank you very much, GamerX.
Thanks, GamerX.
GamerX did a lot of consultation with the devs of Dead by Daylight to essentially bring out its first queer character, which is I've got mixed feelings that it's David, but also
why like David?
Like, also what? Okay, so again, somebody who doesn't know that much about DBD, who is David, and what is that? Because I read about their backstory was something like Fight Club, and like but I didn't. Like the perfect podcast host that I am, I didn't do my research and I didn't look into David King's backstory.
Yeah, but then you get to ask these questions.
Yeah, I know, right? So explain to me, who's David King?
Right. So David King is one of these survivors that you have in Dead by Daylight. I think he was one of the first original ones. However, if I remember correctly, in David King's backstory, he had an ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
So, like it says that Davis came out as gay, but technically, would that make him bi?
Well, maybe he didn't know he was gay. You
I
know?
mean, that's very true.
Yeah,
I've
maybe.
had
yeah,
girlfriends in the past, and now my label is very much homosexual. So that is
yeah.
absolutely fair, actually.
I guess, yeah. I guess the thing is, what really heartens me about this particular story, yeah, you can tell me a little bit more about the backstory in a second, and who David is as a character. But what heartens me about this story is that the devs' behavior, isn't it? They actually went through
Yeah,
the
like I said,
effort
gamer
of
mags.
doing consultation stuff, of reaching out
Mhm.
to like a big LGBT QA plus charity, and actually like talking to them and consulting
Mhm.
on them. And it wasn't just which character should we make gay. It was the conversations were more based around, listen, we're going to set up a framework to actually having discussions
Mhm.
surrounding LGBTQA plus people, and being able to like integrate that authentically without it feeling too forced, I guess. The only thing I will say, how do you feel about taking a pre-existing character and then making them queer rather than making a new queer character?
I think it depends. I think with what Dead by Daylight's done, I don't mind it because I've checked David's law story, and I don't know if maybe they edited it afterwards. I can't see that he had a girlfriend. But
Okay.
maybe he did. And they like edited it. I don't know. But I do appreciate how at first I was confused, when I was very like, why? I was like making a gay character. But then the reasoning behind it I thought was like really quite good. And then they also released so Mia, in Dead by Daylight, you can go through like, do you know the Fortnite Battle
tomes?
Pass? Do you know?
Like
Yeah,
the
I'm like,
tomes,
you can
right?
go through
Yeah.
tomes. Yeah, you can go
Yeah.
through like tomes, and it's like a Battle Pass kind of thing where it's like you
Mhm.
like play more games.
And you get like
stuff.
backstory on the character.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
whatnot.
and they've got like excerpts of like scenes and stuff with David in it, and it's like discusses sexuality and that kind of thing. And I like that. I think I like it, and I think that's definitely it. I don't think that sort of thing shouldn't be put in the same bucket as, for example, when like the Dumbledore situation where it's like there's nothing about it, we're not adding anything about it, we just said, oh yeah, that whole time, no, they were gay actually.
Yeah,
Bye now.
like
it's
like
very
Soldier
different to that.
76 as well, for instance.
Yeah.
Like those situations, it kind of feels like more of a way just to score points than actually
Mhm.
being like progressive
Yeah.
and
Representation.
Yeah,
and
but
actually
I
having
do
real
think
representation.
but I think that Dead by Daylight actually like behavior were very considerate of social impact and stuff, and like really did the work, and then like continued to follow through. So
Mhm.
I'm a fan
Mhm.
personally. I don't know how Luke feels about it though.
Yeah,
No,
bringing
I'm
that
a
back.
fan as well.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, bringing that
Apologies.
back to the Hooked on You dating sim. I'm really hoping that means that the characters who are romanceable, depending on, hopefully you can choose your own gender and stuff as the player.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that all options are on the
It
table.
says an
there.
all-inclusive getaway, and I'm wondering if the copywriter is a genius of innuendos, and it really is all-inclusive. You know?
I mean, Dead by Daylight know their community. They're very, very good at it, and they know that they have
they
a huge queer community. Like, so I'd be very surprised
it's
if that
true.
wasn't one of their
Huntress is there for the
initial.
girls.
Yeah, from the get go, they'd be like, "Yeah, we want this to appeal to everyone. Essentially, we're not going to put any limits on it."
I mean, they'd be mad not to want to work with the queer community, considering like every queer content creator that I know seems to play Dead by Daylight
Yes.
and be in love with it.
I don't know what it is about it. We love it. Also, apparently in that visual novel, you can also be like just friends with them or like loathing. So kind of like a hate man's path.
I don't know if I want to get into a hate man's with somebody that can like pick me up, stick me on a hook.
Pretend I'm on their level. I'm a fan. If the trapper was like, "You're my nemesis," I'd be like, "I am a big deal." So true.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm just a sub. Who knows?
No, I like the danger.
Luke likes the danger. I like the challenge.
Danger.
And I want Mummy Huntress to pick me up and put me on a hook. So yeah.
Yeah, in fairness, that's
right. So moving on from Dead by Daylight, we have a quick break for an ad read right now. I'm just gonna leave a quick pause and say, coming up this week on DigiPride, it's on Tuesday, it's bonus levels of the queer history of video game makers, a talk by LGBTQ historian Satcher Coward, which is a very cool last name. And on Wednesday, Let's Go Gaming for DigiPride is back, most likely doing Sea of Thieves, because last week it wasn't The servers weren't up. We planned to play Sea of Thieves, and the servers were just like down at the time. Both of them can be found right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/gaming mag. Also, launching next week, there are 2 competitions from Xbox and Wizards of the Coast, plus an exciting esports tournament with the Chicago Metropolitan Sports Association. You can find out all the cool stuff about that and more at gayming.com/Digipride. That's GAYMING mag.com/Digipride. Now, Harley, it is time for your spotlight. This is going to be all about you. We're going to get to know you a little bit more. It's your interview time. Your time to shine in the spotlight, as you're very accustomed to. So. I'm going to kick us off. Well, I'd actually wanted to ask more about your Pride controller, actually, and not to go back to the whole Xbox thing, but you showed it off earlier, and I didn't give you a chance to explain why you chose the colors that you chose.
No, it's okay. Thank you. So I've got the Brewery like written on it a little bit. I thought it was cute. I was like, I might as well personalize it. But no, I chose I spent a while trying to figure out which of my identity's flags would look best with the faceplate. And I settled on the aromantic flag. So I've got like a black. I chose these 3 black, these 3 black, these 3 black and white, and the metallic green D-pad, and the back has metallic green triggers.
I love how shiny that green is. It's lovely.
Isn't it nice?
That's
really
anything
nice.
That's metallic on those controllers, I am just in love with. Like you gotta get the metallic triggers.
I'm really happy
this time. I only got like these plain ones, but I think it worked with the flag colors.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit better.
I really like it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my little Pride controller.
Okay, so that was an aside. That wasn't planned. But let's get to the actual questions. I've known you for a while now. We met like several years ago at Twitch London, I believe.
Oh my god, yeah.
It
Time is an illusion. Like
time is an illusion.
3.5 years ago? Like I don't even know.
Potentially, I think it might have been 20. Did I meet you at the winter one, or was it the summer one next time?
I don't even know. I definitely went to the summer one of them, but like mutuals on Twitter could have happened at that point. It's all a blur. I'm gonna blanket 2018. I bet 2018.
Yeah, probably
blanket.
2018. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't think I've ever asked how you found your way into content creation and Twitch in general and what you're doing now. I'd love to hear more about your journey into that space.
I think that I've always wanted to. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an actress, and it was really that I wanted to be famous, and I want to make things, and I want people to see that stuff and like it and be like, she did that and I like it. And because that is very hard being an actress, I then daydreamed of being like a YouTuber or like, that sort of thing. And I would always try and record YouTube videos, and then I would get very perfectionistic about it. And I just get really insecure while editing, and I just couldn't do it. And I would like record stuff, and like it would happen like every year or two. I would like this is the year I'm doing it, and I'd buy all the stuff, and I'd record one thing, hate myself, and then shelve it. And I think I was constantly imagining like I'll start when I'm perfect, and it was just not good. And so when I found my way,
issue, honestly,
Yeah,
I think it might be an ADHD thing. It's like being a perfectionist with ADHD, worst combination ever. It's
terrible. Yeah, because I've got my 5 other huge projects that I'm working on finished.
Exactly.
But yeah, the way I found my way to Twitch and live streaming was that I think this is the first way I heard about Twitch properly. I used to play competitive Overwatch as a hobby, because I guess I didn't care about my mental well-being or anything. So I did that, and I grouped up with people that I met on Voice who were like nice enough, and one of them streamed on Twitch and mentioned it a couple of times. And I think a couple of times I'm playing competitive Overwatch. This was back before I had Invisalign aligners. I would get my voice complimented often, and obviously I was a girl, so maybe they were just saying it to be nice or whatever, but they would be like, oh, do you stream? Like, you have a really pretty voice, and that kind of thing. And I think I just picked up streaming from there. I looked at EVA stuff a lot. I loved her content. I wanted to be like an Overwatch streamer. I had some Overwatch streams, obviously didn't do well. And then I sort of got really into Twitch advice stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, so play a game that has a small community, and then get a base, and then move over to a bigger game. So I kind of went from there. I played Crusader Kings 3 to 8 people, and then I shimmied them over to Dark Souls, and I made the mistake of being a woman on Twitch playing Dark Souls. But it was fun. I liked it. And yeah, I guess just from there. And I became a full-time streamer at the beginning of COVID, like many people did. I was privileged enough to be in a minimum wage job at the time, as I always had been, but they put me on furlough, which basically is like you're not working, but you're being paid, because lots of jobs had that to the pandemic because of the government. So because of that, I was able to full-time stream because I was getting like essentially like a UBI, you know. And then I quit my job to do full-time stream once I had built up enough of a community and an income from that. And I dabbled in freelance social media as well. And then most recently, I have been taking a hiatus of live streaming for a little bit, just to recover from burnout, like pandemic burnout, ADHD burnout, the whole kit and caboodle. And I'm able to do that because I have a full-time job in marketing and tech right now. But I really, really do miss content creation. And I'm currently planning on returning to streaming in July. And I'm also going to actually really for real, no, I mean it this time, do YouTube videos. But I think the reason why I think live streaming was so much easier to get into than YouTube stuff was because like you can't edit. You can't like, look at yourself and feel self-conscious and like delete it. Like it being like very ephemeral really appealed to me when I first got into it. And I think it was a very easy like entry for me in that way. So yeah, that's my little journey, I guess. Most of it was during COVID, so I missed out on like going to fun conventions and getting like fun partner parties or whatever. But yeah, I'm really great. I even though I don't stream anymore, and I'm on a big hiatus, my Discord community is still super active, and I have a wonderful job that supports me very well, and I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for the community that I built up through Twitch. So it's very weird to know that like one hobby like is the whole reason I have every single, like my partner I met because of Twitch, like, and I've been with him for like 2 years. And I'm like moving my best friend. I met my best friend because of Twitch, and like it's incredible, but also like a lot.
No, totally. Like it's
Um,
super interesting because like some of the best connections I've had with people are since I started streaming on Twitch. Like the amount of friends and like just opportunities that we get
from
through
I have a
doing
single
this.
friend group. I spent my whole life being ADHD and traumatized and getting into like toxic friend groups and switching friend groups every 2 years because they would become awful bullies. And I got on Twitch and suddenly, people are nice when we have similar hobbies and they're also neurodivergent, and I can find a community of people like me and have a nice time.
I think, again, I can't remember if I've said this on the podcast before, but it's nice being in a space where you're not like forced to have friendships by proximity. Essentially, the people online are friends that you're making for real. It's like you're not stuck in a school or job or something where you know.
I always felt awful like that because I just like I'm a very upfront person because I have ADHD and I'm a Quaker and I'm Australian, so it's a huge thing. And I'm just like, I just don't get along with everybody. We don't have like a chemistry. We don't like click. But and I would get really stressed out being constantly in situations IRL where it's like you're forced to do team building stuff or forced to be friends with someone, and you're like, I don't dislike you, but like we aren't getting along. That's fine.
I mean,
and like
there's like millions of people in the world as well. Like not everyone's going to get on, and that's fine. You just add adults and get past it.
Luke and I have been nemesis for what 5
for
years now.
Like, and look
Absolutely.
at professionals.
That's the thing. I thought I could repair that. I thought I could build that bridge, repair it, but now I know.
How could you when we're competing for your love? How could you when we're competing for your hand? We just want to just run off into the platonic sunset with you and elope.
That's news to me.
Believe
honestly, if that were actually the case, not to break the skit, but if that were the case, I would not know. I'm so dense when it comes to like relationship stuff. I have no idea who
I'd be
likes
like, you're
me.
so pretty, Mia. You're so pretty. Like you're so pretty, and you'd be like,
and
instead
of that, like my initial reaction wouldn't be, oh cool, thank you. It would be, what are you doing? What do you want from me? What are you like? There's an angle here. I know it. Maybe that says something about my like self-image, but you know, moving on to that, Luke, you have a question.
Yes, I've got a wonderful question.
We love you, Mia.
For our lovely guest. We all love Mia here. We absolutely do. For our lovely.
What do you want from me? What are you trying to do right now?
The last couple of years have been a bit of a roller coaster for yourself. There's been a lot of travel, work with big brands. You recently got invited to the Gayming BAFTAs, which is huge news. Out of all of the things you've done, what's the kinds of content you create or experiences you've had, what has left a positive mark? What has brought you joy? out of all of those fun things you've been up to? That's a big
Any like
question.
key nuggets that you like you say,
Yeah.
okay, this was really cool to experience, or anything like that?
It's so strange because I think that this might just be me because I've just got funky brain, but it's so strange how, you know, like 3 or 4 years ago, I would look at people that were like getting PR packages or getting partnerships and that kind of thing. And I was like, they must be so happy. They've made it. And I, you know, like if I get PR packages or I do sponsorships, I think mainly when I was very burned out, for some reason, like I knew I was really privileged. I knew I was really lucky, but it wouldn't make me happy. And I didn't know why. Like it just, it felt like I didn't have any like goals and it was like another thing and it just wouldn't fulfill me. I didn't know why. And I think that lately I've been able to get away from that and I am more like present in the moment and like appreciate the things that I have and that kind of thing. So I think for me, I have some sort of like eclectic ones in that like maybe like I had a big, like if I had like a big front page moment, that doesn't like stand out in my brain as like my happiest moment, even though it's wonderful and I was very lucky to have it, you know? So I think for me, the main one would be that for some reason, thank you so much, I'm on like 5 different PR lists for every time Wizards of the Coast sneeze. So I always get like sent everything from all their new stuff. And I think like it's a combo of like Hasbro and yours truly. And I'm still on their list somehow. And I'm so grateful. Thank you. I don't know how that happened. But that's a really big one for me. I don't know why. I just love D&D and it means a lot. But like, I just
we'll be talking about that shortly.
Okay, good. Okay. Oh boy. So them, and then also Gayming BAFTAs was a very, very big one. I was so lucky to be there, and it was a really wonderful time, and I was just like awestruck the entire time. So yeah, thank you so much to Dead Good Media and Jake Klukowski for having me at the BAFTAs because that stand out. Like, don't know if I'll ever top it. That was incredible. And also, yeah, again, just like anytime that I don't know, anytime that like I meet up with somebody on Twitch in real life or get the opportunity to like really like one-on-one with them as a human, not like this, you know what I mean? Like actually like talk to real people, not like this, but like actually meeting up with people and just like, I don't know, getting to know them as a person, having them like say things about me and I know something about them. And it's like this really human, wonderful connection of us appreciating each other as creatives. And any moment like that, I love. And those stand out to me as well. So those
Definitely.
are kind of weird ones, but yeah.
No, it's absolutely fun. It's the perfect answer. Like it's so nice sometimes just to like switch off as well and just exist in a space with another person for a moment. And just nothing about Twitch, nothing about like any of that. You know, it's something you have in common, but you actually get to like talk to somebody. And,
I learned that from my partner. He went to the Twitch Partner Summit, and he basically has this thing where like whenever he meets up with people who are other Twitch people, like he's very like, we're not talking about Twitch. What are you really into right now? Like he just like doesn't like he just talks to them about them. And I hadn't thought of that for some reason because whenever I'm at a place where we all have something in common, for some reason I want to talk about that. And I think that's just really wonderful, just like talking to.
I've got the same rule. I felt to be honest, like I'm like we're on Twitch all the time. I finally get to see you and I talk to like you. Like it's a really good role to have. It's really lovely.
Oh my god, I need to have a personality. I need to talk about other stuff other than Twitch. Oh god, okay.
Yeah, I know it's really difficult for you because you literally are constantly wonderful and funny and engaging, and that must be like really difficult
all the time
to carry on your shoulders. But you can do it, and I do believe.
Stop! No, I can't handle that. Listen, you were talking about PR packages earlier. I was thinking about like sometimes when I get like a PR package, I'm like, it triggers my imposter syndrome. Like it's like, oh my god, why are you sending this to me?
Do they know? I'm gonna post a thing about it, and it's not gonna be good enough. And they take me off the list. Like,
definitely. I have that anxiety about like any kind of like activation stuff I do. It's like, oh god, is this gonna be good enough? Like I'm only a certain size.
I think because everything's on a screen as well, it is quite hard. It isn't like you've been invited onto like a photo shoot and you can speak to the directors and the camera people and they can tell you all this stuff. It's very like, as wonderful as a lot of influential managers are and they're very reassuring, something about things being on a screen makes it feel less real. So it's like, I just get stressed out. And also, especially if it's like, you don't know where it came from. Like I got a PR package that I know Luke has, no idea how they got my information. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah.
What are we expecting here?
That is a nice surprise though when things come, because like a lot of my PR packages, sorry, not to get too into the nitty gritty of what goes on behind the scenes of Twitch. A lot of my a lot of my stuff is like people contact me beforehand, so I have an expectation that I know something's going to come, and then like half of the time nothing ever comes somehow. I don't think that's a reflection, but some campaigns just never happen for some reason.
Yeah.
It's weird. But like, it's really nice when I just randomly get something in the mail. I'm like, oh, this was unexpected. That's kind of delightful. Yes,
Little
yeah.
gift.
No, it's so nice. I need to get better at like keeping up with posting about PR packages, because behind the scenes curtain pull, like usually if you get sent a gifted package, like you aren't obligated to post about it, but there is like a slight like, it would be really good if you did, and that's kind of why we are doing it. Yeah, and I literally have like 3 different things that I need to like do a nice shoot for, and it's the stupidest problem to have, where it's like, oh, I've been gifted so many things, I have no time to take photos of them. Oh, but
I don't even know if we can call that a first world problem. That's like a
get the guillotine. Get it. Like
I have to say thank you for all these nice gifts I got.
I have to say thank you perfectly, so I'll wait 3 months to do it. Like but there are wonderful people like doing this, like influence managers who are the people behind all these things, and I want to like make sure they're getting their ROI, like knowing that I appreciate it.
I can relate. I got sent, I don't know if you can see it back here, I've moved over. I got sent like a Fall Guys package, or like a statue and a plushie.
I've been staring at it this whole time, not going.
It's covered with Kirby's, and then like there's a big bop swingy majiggy thing too.
I sure can't wait to play the hit game Fall Guys with my other friends who are in the 18 to 35 age demographic.
It's now
available now on the Epic Store. Not hashtag
For
sponsored,
free.
but they did send me hashtag free product or whatever. But
I love
but like
beans.
just to go back to that like feeling like you have to make content. I recorded a whole TikTok, and then I just posted a picture of the whole package. I just scrapped it and I was like, no, it's too much work, ADHD. I just posted a picture of the whole package on Twitter instead. But yeah. Anyway, we've gotten really, really far off topic.
We've all done this.
So relatable.
D&D. Well, technically, I think one of the things that brings me joy is just hanging out with other people online and co-streaming with people and just being in that space with like your friends and stuff. I'm not sure if that works into this. Your love for D&D. You're an avid TTRPG fan. You co-founded and are a recurring guest on Stories Told RPG. You were Doc Campbell in the Witchcraft and Wizardry campaign, which I believe was based on Harry Potter. You were Madeline Valentini in your Monster of the Week campaign. And you also DM'd the Murder Mystery themed one, I think. That was the Wicked Lies and Alibis game. Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to know more about how you generally got into TPRG, your love for that, and if you have any memorable stories you'd like to share from any of the campaigns you've been a part of.
Yeah. The main way I got into TTRPGs was I think it was when, I've always kind of dabbled in D&D like here and there, and I've kind of liked the idea of it, but I always was like trying to play with strangers off of Reddit or whatever, like I never had friends who wanted to do it. And I think that I saw, and I saw some my mutual, I think, on Twitter casting for a TTRPG show that they were doing. And that was when I was really like wanting to like collab with other creators and that kind of thing. So I offered to do it, and then we had like a spare slot, and I suggested Hannah for it, who was like a friend of mine who I knew had like on her Twitch panel, she had like a goals list, and I remember seeing Beyond TTRPG in there. So I was like, oh, I know this Lucy Hannah person. They go, yeah, we should have them on. And I brought her on for that. And so we were on an actual play called Counter Breakers, and it was really fun. It was a really good time. But I think that Hannah and I sort of had ideas of TTRPGs beyond just D&D that we really wanted to do. So because of that, we made a channel to do actual plays on. And basically what we would do is it was that every month we would have a new system that was played, a new cast and everything. And we would really loved highlighting systems that didn't often get a lot of attention. So like indie systems and stuff that isn't D&D or Call of Cthulhu and that kind of thing. And that was really, really fun. Unfortunately, there was only 2 of us, and we both were full-time content creators, and I was in the middle of getting treated for ADHD. So sadly, it was a lot of learning how to not be a terrible producer, and how to collaborate with people and that kind of thing while being burned out. And I think that sort of unfortunately we had to sort of stop doing Stories Told at the end of last year. But we were actually like a year of it, so like that's good. And we had some really fun times. And I still really do enjoy doing TTRPGs, and I still guest on some actual plays, which is really, really fun. I'm really grateful every time that I'm invited on one. But Stories Told was really, really great. And I think I'm trying to think of like fun things. There were so many. I think that every time, I think the number one thing for me is always, and if anyone's ever thinking of getting into TTRPGs, this is like such a stellar quality. If I was GMing or if I was producing or if I was just in a TTRPG, if one of my fellow players like had a really extensive like me, I like am making a character and I'll make a Pinterest board for them, a Spotify playlist, like this whole thing. Like I'll read all of the supplementary material. If you're one of those players, like your GM will love you, your fellow players will probably also love you. Like never be afraid to be really into it, because that is like sort of a peak moment. I think my favorite moment would have to be in the very first campaign that we did in Stories Told. We basically played Monster Hearts, which is basically a system where it's very like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It has like a stat for like being hot. So there's lots of like making out encouraged, like all that jazz, like woo. And it was called Our Teen Monsters. It's on Blue Jay's YouTube if you want to look it up and give her some views, because she was a GM and she's wonderful. And we basically played, it was myself, Louise Hannah, Yellow Spoon Girl, Blue Jay, and Insanity Live. And we played ourselves, but as like 1990s teenagers that were monsters. So like I was a character who like ran like a murder cult, and I was still kind of playing myself, but like a caricature of myself, because I don't murder people, if you're wondering, and check
anymore.
Notes or anymore. Like you don't need to look at, and there was a scene where we went into a store, and I forget why, but I think we decided to shoplift to just be naughty teenagers. And Tom's character, Unsigning Led's character, was like a farm boy who had like never been inside like a Walmart before. So my character stole like a Diet Coke. Bella's character stole like a little like chicken statue or whatever. And Tom's character like waddles up and he's holding like a giant CRT TV. And he's like, let's go. And they were like, you're going to steal the TV? And he was like, yeah, can I roll for it? And Blue Jay was like, yeah, roll for it. Go try walk out of this store with a CRT TV in front of the cashier. And he rolled like a nat success, like the highest you can roll. Incredible. And she was like, yeah, you just walk out with it and it's fine. And it was very fun. I loved amazing. It. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. That's
I love
awesome.
those moments like that. Awesome. There's like the kind of like Hail Mary type moments where let's just try it and see what happens. And then you get exactly what you want. You're like,
exactly. It's so good. And then having to adapt when that doesn't go your way is also
oh, definitely. Good. Yeah.
TTRPGs are hard.
But yes, that's the fun of it.
I haven't done that many, unfortunately, just because I never see them when they pop up and I don't get invited to many, but I'd love to do more. Is there any like systems that are out there that you still want to play that you're interested in?
I really want to play D&D again, just because I feel like every time that I play Dungeons and Dragons, it's for like a short amount of time. So I do love doing like one shots and stuff. And my friend Ed Spence often like GMs a little one shot for us sometimes, which is really fun. And I would really love to play Kids on Bikes, which is a really simple system, basically, where it's very like 1980s, like horror goosebumpsy kind of vibes. And you play as a kid, you have really basic stats. You're just a kid, I think. And I really
very Stranger Things.
It's very Stranger Things. And I really want to play that system, I think. I am currently, don't hold me to it, because I don't know if you know this, it's kind of on the download, but I have ADHD. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that to anybody ever, but I'm trying to GM a TTRPG set in Stranger Things, but like it's not inspired like it is. Like I want it to be like between season 2 and 3, and I'm trying to like mash together 2 like existing systems and like put them inside Stranger Things. So
that's gotta be difficult.
Really well.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out a system for doing some kind of Pokemon TTRPG, and like because of my lack of experience just in general, like it'd be the first time I'm DMing anything, and just figuring it all out is just like it's too much. It's too much to handle. Like
hard.
DMing's hard. I think you'd need to find a system that's like pretty basic, like Kids on Bikes for trainers, and then I think you would need to find like a separate system for the animals.
For, like, battling.
Yeah, for like battling. I think that would be probably the best way to go
surprised if there wasn't the foundations or the framework of something like that already.
Yeah.
I've seen
onto the
stuff, but
RPG.
it tends to get very complicated and like a lot of roles, and I'm like, I don't want to do like a role for every single action.
Yeah, you
I
could
just
strip
wanna-
it just down to basics. Like I like having like a
Mhm.
one system PDF like up on my monitor and like my own Google Doc like here, and just like pull what you like and then like cobble it together as you
just
go.
kit bash
be
some
really
stuff
fun.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah, it can be
that's what most DMs do.
Yeah, literally.
It looks
Okay,
very
cool.
professional, but you're just throwing things together.
Every
speed of our
DM just generally doesn't know what they're doing. They're just like throwing things in a pot and seeing what happens. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
heartening
sounds
to hear.
awesome. I love that though. That sounds really cool.
Harley, I have another wee question here. I know you're incredibly passionate about social justice, especially issues affecting marginalized communities and mental health. Being a queer creator within the gaming community, do you think it's important that creators are outspoken about these issues?
I think that Jeff Brutlag had a really wonderful thread about this recently, which was like I think primarily in regards to the Roe v. Wade thing, but it was pretty reflective of, you know, speaking about this kind of thing in general. I think that it's interesting. I think where I land on it in the most general way of saying it is I think that it's important, obviously, to be cultivating a community that you know, stand behind and you support. So like, I don't think it's okay if you are somebody who is very, very like left wing and there's a bunch of like bigots in your community and you don't like moderate that when you yourself would prefer like to have fellow left wing people in the community. I'm like, there's a mismatch here. This isn't going to work out. So I think the moderation is really important. I think that is a general like community building skill, even just separate from advocacy, you know. When it comes to being outspoken about these kind of things, I think that if you are of the identity, then like it's up to you. You know, for example, for me, like I don't really speak about like my I'm very like I like talking about being aromantic, but I'm not very specific about like my sexuality or anything like that, or like certain like mental health issues that I've had or like experiences that I've had. I don't really speak on those from a talking about myself place. When there's a big Me Too movement on Twitch 2 years ago, I think it was, and I didn't really speak about myself. I just spoke outwards to people because I wasn't comfortable, you know, putting myself out like that. I think that's fine. And I think if you're not of an affected group and something big's going on, for example, the Roe v. Wade stuff, I think it's one of those things where if you're not using your platform to speak on it, you're not doing the most good that you can. I don't think that you're doing harm immediately, like as long as like, you know, your community, like I said, is like moderated in a healthy way. And it's great if, you know, if you know what's going on, like you're supporting behind the scenes, like you're donating or whatever. But I think that as lots of our social lives have moved almost entirely to online, especially with the pandemic and everything happening online had a lot of weight. Or things are happening in real life, but we can only see it online because of the pandemic again. I think there's a lot of danger in thinking that if somebody who never tweets doesn't tweet about something, it means that they should be like canceled and they suck. You know what I mean? If they're like genuinely like donating and they're doing everything they can, like they're, you know, so.
Well, I think there's definitely something to be said there about like looking at it from like the individual's point of view. You don't necessarily know that person's life and what they can handle from like a mental health standpoint as well. For you know, I don't want to particularly like take over the conversation, but as a trans person, like some weeks I'm very passionate. I'll share stuff about LGBTQIA issues and trans issues, but some weeks I just can't. No, it's just like I just need to switch off and you know, I'll do it some other time, but right now, like this is not good for me. So I can understand that too. Oh God, that's completely wrong. Sorry.
I think that like someone, you know, coming down on you for that in any way would be entirely out of line. And it's another thing as well where I think that there's this perception, especially within like queer communities. I think that we kind of have a flaw where we assume that everyone puts everything about themselves online. That like if I don't have somewhere stated explicitly what my sexuality is, that just means that I'm straight. Or if someone, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of dangerous where it's like someone won't necessarily speak on something and maybe it's like, but you don't know, like they literally that could be like incredibly triggering for them because like you don't know them, you know? So yeah.
I've found this
you don't necessarily know what's in people's heart. That's it. Sorry.
I found it's something that's helped me. Like I struggle to get my words out quite a lot. again, ADHD things, whatever. Like if I have these kind of thought processes, I tend to go over them with my partner Jack. But also at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, my tweet is kind of useless. I think it's, in my opinion, it's better to retweet and like and platform
signal
people
based.
who do know what they're talking about, rather than because
Yeah.
if you know me, if you look at my content, whatever, you know the type of person that I am. So I feel like me just tweeting out what everyone else is kind of pointless. I would rather take someone who is more articulate, who does know these points much better than me, and use the platform that I have to reinforce that message.
Yeah,
and I
'cause
feel like a lot of people could learn from that idea.
Yeah. That you don't need to like just like punch card in and be like, oh, social is happening. Time and do a tweet about it and like punch in. Like, no, you can just like, if you want to like show up for it, uplift and like boost other things instead, it's fine. Because I think that it's the definition of performative. It's just like it could be good and genuine sometimes, like punch in and be like, issue, time to do a tweet about it on my take. But like a lot of it is just like, uplifting other people is the best thing to do in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, are you doing it because you want to do it? Are you doing it because you feel you need to do it? And I feel it's a very distinct difference between the two of those.
Yeah, and sometimes are you doing it because you just want to be the first one to have an opinion? You want to be the first one to get that social clout from like I'm involved in the conversation, which I see that a lot. Sorry, I see that a lot with like different issues. Sorry, and like it's just people like. One of the things that annoys me the most, I'm going to go to stream as an aside, streamer Twitter. I hate it just because like someone will do something specifically to inflame like a conversation, right? To get people angry and mad. And then streamer Twitter will latch on and be like, I've got to be part of the conversation. I've got to be involved. We got to dunk on this person.
It's like one tiny thing that isn't reflective of any mass thing. And then streamer Twitter is like, if you're somebody, no one is. That one person is. And that's it.
Yeah. And sometimes, like it'll be an intentional thing too, in order to trick Twitter into blowing them up, and then that will lead to them getting like followers and stuff.
Yeah,
and so it's pretty frustrating.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, I feel as a content creator, you are kind of put in the spot a wee bit to have an opinion on everything, and you don't need to have an opinion on everything. Sometimes you can just say, "Here, I actually don't know enough about this topic of conversation to have an informed opinion, so at the moment I don't have one." And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, maybe I should say something.
And also like it's like I don't think that I'm the person you should be going to for information about like BLM. Like I'll retweet it, go look at them. Don't like I'm not the person you should be looking to. I feel like it's like when it's like, here's how Rice Krispies feels about trans rights. I'm like, I feel like I'm Rice Krispies, and I'm like, I'll show you, go look at their stuff. And there's so much more than me. I like them. I boosted their stuff. Like, and I think that I know someone who says when it comes to like tweets about like really heavy things, and people who like, constantly tweet about very heavy things, even like they don't really know what they're talking about, and they're sort of doing that showing up thing. Like when, and I'm sure Mia gets this, when JKR breathes and every cis person is like, time to talk about JKR, and every trans person is like, please just shut up.
It's literally like, every single week.
And it's very like the medium is the message, where it's like putting something on Twitter. I've learned, I feel like it almost like immediately devalues it. And it's so stressful for me seeing people like think that's the number one place to go to like show up for activism, when I'm like, I don't see you showing up in like meaningful ways. You're just showing up in this one performative way. You're doing it wrong sometimes. So
I am like, this is a really interesting conversation actually, and it kind of like splits off differently from the actual like interview that we're doing. But do you question that comes to me, do you see any like dangers in content creation that you've had to deal with yourself, in terms of like struggles that you've had? I know you said you were like dealing with burnout. I'd love to know if that's something that you're comfortable talking about. As like how has that affected you?
I think it's one of those things, it sort of ties into what I said about the thing of like, I feel like there's a slight obligation or an expectation that we've put everything about ourselves on the internet. And I know we talk a lot about, parasocial boundaries and that sort of thing. And just the very blanket thing of like, you don't know the streamer, like don't talk to them like you're their friend. But I think I got a lot of unease with, I don't know how to explain it properly, like sort of, the feeling of like, I don't mind being perceived and known, like that's fine, it's totally okay. I think that I started to do this thing where I couldn't really separate Breadwitchery, the brand, and like me, Harley. And I didn't want to do that. And I still don't think that I really want to do that much. I still want to be like as genuine as I possibly can. And if I'm ever not being genuine, it's because I'm omitting things in a way, if that makes sense. Not like putting on a facade in any way. I'm just like holding things back and keeping those like intimate to myself. And that was something that I had to learn, I think, because I thought that being able to keep it separate in a healthy way meant like faking things or that sort of thing. And I've learned like, no, omission is probably the move. But when it came to dangers and burnout, I think that the main one was the 24/7 of it. I think that's one of the most dangerous things. And I think a very dangerous thing is like the jokes that we make about it as well, where it's very like we're doing it, like I'll still do it, where it's very like I've got
it's a coping mechanism, like
I've got 5 things to do, time to do another one, and like it's like, and the idea of like if you're like an insurance agent when you go on Twitter, you're just on Twitter. If you're a content creator, when you're on Twitter, you're on content creator, work brain Twitter. Like most recreational sites for you now are suddenly work. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. You're going to come into it with that mindset, and I think that is so. It's this weird spindly tentacle of like the content creation worky mindset. And I think it sort of just encompassed everything for me, where everything became content, everything became, I couldn't get myself out of the mindset. And it was just very damaging for me and I couldn't do it. And I just needed something where I could just like clock out and stop thinking about it because it was just a 24/7 of it. I think that you could be doing something that you adore 24/7. But if you're just doing that, like you lose like yourself, you know, and that was really hard for me.
You'll eventually get sick of it as well. Like I can totally like reiterate that point. I was listening to friend of the show, Boss Level podcast with Hey lady recently, and she was
love Ty.
Yeah, Ty's amazing.
Ty's one of the first videos that I watched. Like how to stream. Like her video was like the one that I watched.
It's fabulous. She's a great content creator, but she was like talking about this too, how like her whole like life has become like about content creation, like everything that she's doing. And I can reiterate that myself. Like there has to be a point where you step away and say, okay, some things you just have to keep for yourself. You have to have like this, I guess it's just work-life balance at this point, where you have to give yourself a life, not put everything online. Go outside, take a walk. Like touch grass. Yeah, I know it's a meme, but people should be touching grass. Yeah. I do the same thing. That's definitely like contributed to my burnout, being like just stuck indoors, just working on projects 24/7, not making time for myself and just like enjoying things. I've been trying to do that recently.
I think it's outside content creation. Like I don't know if you heard, but I go to the gym every now and again, and see when I go to the gym, that's like I don't look at my social media. Like I'm at the gym for like an hour and a half, and I just get to switch off. I don't get to do anything, and it's about the gym and back home, showered like back on like usual. But you do need that time to just get away from it. So I think going for like a wee walk in the day, like going in the sun, like whatever, like. You kind of need that as a creator.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And I think that we joke about it a lot and we make it out like it's this inevitability. And I don't think that it needs to be. But I think that was the main danger for me. That and this is a niche one, but sort of when, you know, that whole thing of like, oh, people only post their highlights on social media, you know, that like idea. I think I would fall for that a lot. Like if people were like, I'm playing a lobby with all my friends, or like, oh, this thing is like super great. Like I would fall for it and I'd be like, but I'm friends with them. We're really good friends. I didn't get in the lobby. Why not? And so I know it'd be like, hey, it's a work thing. Like they're streaming. It's a work thing for work friends. And I was like, but they said friends. I'm their friend. And like, I would just like, it was so stressful for me. And I really had to like learn how to separate that.
It could be super easy to like beat yourself up and being like, am I not good enough in these situations? Why didn't they reach out to me? Why does nobody reach out to me about like doing like these like fun hangout streams and stuff?
It must be me inherently. And it's like, no, actually it's probably like a numbies thing. It's probably like a criteria thing. Like
it could be a time zone thing. Like
it could be anything.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Really, really good conversation, but let's switch focus.
Enough sub stories from me.
I just want to say as well, this has been amazing to see several people with mental health issues try and talk and actually have a conversation, at least at least on board without interrupting each other and going over which we have done, which has been fantastic. I've loved
I'm
that.
so excited for the DM afterwards of us being like, hey, just heads up, if I spoke over you at any point, I'm really sorry.
Yes.
And I really
No, we can do that
content.
now. Listen, I am sorry for speaking. I'll do that a lot. I've learned that, well, the ADHD thing for starters, but I've learned that when I started transitioning, I would minimalize myself in spaces in terms of conversations. And I got one piece of advice was literally just don't stop talking, and then people will have to stop and let you talk. And that's mostly what I do now, which is kind of like become this big burden. So
I love it. I love it. It's chemistry to me. Like people like back and forth and like interrupting me at the very end of my sentence. I'm like, it's just chemistry. We're
singing
very,
this song, like.
Very ADHD too. So makes sense. Right. So let's talk about the future. Is there anything that you're still working towards, anything that you're looking to achieve? I know that obviously now that the pandemic is it's not over, but
people
the
are acting
world
like
is
it's over.
treating it like it's over. Is there anything now that you can be out and about that you still want to do, or that you're going to do? I know, are you in Canada currently, or are you
No, I'm in
you're
London
moving
right
there
now,
soon,
so.
right?
Yes,
You're
September.
moving there. I saw that and I was like, I didn't know when the timeline was, so I wasn't quite sure about that. But you're moving to Canada soon, which is really cool. Is there anything else that you're excited for?
I mean, for the future, I think the number one thing is that I just really want Joe Keery, the guy who plays Steve Harrington, to admit to me personally that he definitely has a Twitch account, because he's been in 2 movies now that like explicitly reference streaming, and he seemed to know his stuff. So I see you, Joe. Call me platonically. I just want the admission here, buddy. Other than that, I really would love to just keep working with D&D in any capacity that they'll have me. I love that. I love nurturing the TTRPG like side of my interests, because it's sort of like bringing out my creative writing background in like a fun way that involves like playing with friends. And so I actually want to keep doing that. And sometimes that like blurs into professional life. So I just want to keep guessing on TTRPGs, working on TTRPGs, all of that. I would love to get into doing YouTube stuff. I think what I really want to be able to do is I'm meeting with a friend soon who runs like a management company. And we're going to talk about it, where I'm trying to figure out, like, it's really hard to know what you want to create, who you want to have see it, and like who you want to be, and like meshing those all together, because sometimes that doesn't quite work. And I'm trying to figure out that right now, where it's like I want to make YouTube videos about like this kind of thing, and I'll make sure that this demographic sees it, because I know that they're there. How do I do that? So yeah, YouTube stuff. And I really want, and moving to Canada. And I just am trying really hard to make this year the year where I just like go for things, because obviously over the pandemic, I know lots of people say this, but I was where it was like I did not leave the house. Like 2020, I did not leave the house. I went out for groceries. I saw one other person in like 8 months, and it was my boyfriend visiting me for the first time ever. Like I did not go out. So this is the year where I'm trying to, as safely as I can, go for things, do things. I'm like, I have the financial freedom to do things now. I have like the confidence. I have a support system. I'm just going to go for a thing if I want it. And just doing that and just seeing where that takes me, and trying not to be too critical about myself of things that I miss out on, or I tell myself I'm not suitable for, or whatever, you know? So kind of vague, but I'm trying to leave it open-ended so that I don't.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, like I feel like that's the best idea. Is like, honestly, it's like, I think for me as well, it's just like saying yes to things and giving yourself those opportunities that maybe in the past that I would have shut down. I'm not sure if that's the same for you.
Or like going for things, like seeing a thing and just like being like, I want that. I'll just reach out. Why don't we reach out? You know, just like,
yeah. And of course, there's always cons and stuff. Like hopefully, I know you're going to TwitchCon Amsterdam, and we can sit down and have a drink, and it'll be an amazing.
I am excited though, because I was nervous because there's no vaccine requirement for the con, and there's no masking requirement for the con. But apparently, the Netherlands require you to be vaccinated to get in. So technically, the con has that requirement. So I feel a bit better about that now. Yeah,
I feel a bit better about that knowing. I still need to sort that out. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna mental note, put that aside for later, and hopefully not forget about that. Because there's like a lot of free flight stuff, isn't there? Depending on the country. I've not left the country, since before the pandemic, so I have no idea what the system is like now. So
there's like a whole, I can tell you, it's like an NHS thing. It's pretty easy. You should be okay.
As long as you've got proof of vaccination, I think you're grand. But
you can get like a little app. It's pretty cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, we were not quite finished because we always finish with something that we like to call quick fire questions.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't necessarily prepare our guests for this, but this is literally just
I
going to
was
be like
not.
stream of consciousness, top of your head, whatever you
This
come up
whole
with.
thing has been stream of consciousness, Mia.
I know,
This
this
is
is
going to
just
be
to
a
top it off.
disaster.
Like,
This is going to be perfect for you then. You've been doing it this entire time.
yeah, this is a
Okay.
warm up. Like,
Okay.
Luke has your first question, but you don't have to spend too long on these thinking about it.
what's been your favorite game this year?
Have I played games this year? What's happening? When did I play Disco Elysium? I've been thinking about that game a lot. I'm going to say Disco Elysium.
Disco Elysium, that works.
take
Yeah,
that.
this incredible game. I've not played it yet, but everybody raves about it.
Also, Stardew Valley. Modded to hell playing Stardew
There we
Valley.
go.
Big fan. Yeah.
What was the one game that defined your childhood?
Oh, Monkey Island, the Monkey Island series and Grim Fandango. And I got to meet the creator of them at the BAFTAs, and I definitely fumbled it, and I was an idiot. But I was like, yeah, I love your stuff so much. And I tried to be like, okay, goodbye now. And he was very like, no, like, it's like, what's your name? And I was like, oh, he's talking to me. Oh, God. Like, I don't know what to do. But definitely those
That was,
two.
is it Tim
Schafer.
Tim Schafer, yes. Yes.
Who's your favorite video game character?
Ooh, oh my God. Can we niche it down a tiny bit, just like by gender
Okay.
or something?
Female.
Elaine Marley from Monkey Island. She's a bossy pirate governor wife with big hair and a bandana, and she yells at me, and I just want to be
Okay.
like her.
Now,
Drag queen.
now, who's your favorite male video game character?
My brain's just on Monkey Island. I need help. It's just kind of press the button.
You go for a hard reset.
We'll circle back.
Yeah, I do like Ira Seaford though. He's very funny. He is like one of the originators of the very like shamelessly effeminate like little subby guy who's just like hello, like he's just great. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
try and reset the brain. No more.
Okay. Which game do you most want a sequel to? Do not say Monkey Island.
It's okay. There's been like 5. I think they're done. It would be really great if Dragon Age would release a sequel for their game that came out like 7 years ago. I'd really love that very much. So probably that one. And I usually would probably actually say Hellblade, but they're making a sequel for that now.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy. And yeah.
Well, they're doing the Dragon Age sequel as well, aren't they?
Are they?
It's coming.
Are they, Mia? I don't know anymore. It's been a while.
BioWare isn't necessarily the same BioWare that it was anymore, so we
Yeah.
don't even know if it's going to be any good.
I
so,
wanted
yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil too, and that burned me. That's an old
Yeah.
childhood game that burned
No.
me. I can't
I
trust
understand
anymore.
that. No. hmm
Who would be your dream stream guest?
Live or
Joe
dead?
Keery. Joe Keery.
Okay, that was
Let's get to
quick.
that.
What game are you most looking forward to coming out?
Fable reboot.
Good
I
answer.
feel like that's another
Absolutely.
vaporware game that might never come because I've not seen anything about that since it was announced.
They've got like a Twitter, and it's got like a very short bio and like one trailer, and that's been it for like 3 years, and I'm like,
God.
please.
Please give us Fable.
So yeah, Fable.
If you're marooned on an island, what 3 games would you want to have with you?
Ooh.
So this can be any 3 games. You apparently can connect to the internet here, although you
Yeah,
can't
it's
help.
magic. Okay. Stardew Valley modded to hell,
Mhm.
I would say. Elden Ring.
Mhm.
Good
And then something that like flexes my brain, but I don't really play those these days, honestly. So I would try. I feel like I need to play something that's actually I know. This is so niche. There is a text-based adventure called Choice of Games Guinevere, and you're playing as Guinevere from King Arthur Legend, and it's like a written story, and you pick different little dialogue options and stuff. And it is so expansive.
That's awesome. It's interesting to
Yeah.
me because I think you're the first person that's chosen only single player games.
Well, I'm marooned on an island. Oh, I can connect to
Again,
the
you got-
internet.
You got the
Don't
internet.
remind me that people are out there living their lives,
Okay,
not having
true,
sand.
true, true. If you
between
can't
their toes all
escape,
the
yeah,
time.
it
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
just want to, yeah.
Okay, so which game has the best soundtrack / music?
Oh gosh, I'm really not great with this because I feel like I need to pay so much more attention when I'm playing a video game than what I actually do because I totally like just zone out the background stuff sometimes. I I do think that Elden Ring and all of the Dark Souls games have just all of Soulsborne has just like incredible music. So I would probably go with that, honestly.
Oh yeah. This last question that Luke has for you, by the way, you feel free to take your time on this one.
This is my favorite one. Where can people find your content, and what have you got coming up on your channel? You take your time.
Or just in general, because I know you're taking a pseudo break at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm Breadwitchery on everything ever except Tumblr. Someone's got it on Tumblr, and they got it recently. And I know they've seen my name somewhere and taken it. Please give it back. So virtually everywhere. I am mainly making content on Twitter at the moment, and I also create content on Fanhouse, and I also have like a link to like everything on there where I do like my photo shoots and stuff. But Twitter and Instagram, mainly Twitter is where I'm the biggest nuisance ATM. I also have a YouTube channel, which is Breadwitchery, and I have some gameplays uploaded there, and I intend to put some other like my Life is Strange True Colors playthrough up there because I accidentally predicted like all of that game while playing it. So I need to have that immortalized so that I'm not just like making it sound like I predicted everything. I predicted everything. The most niche little thing in the world I called, and I don't know how I did it. And I'm also going to be making some video essays soon, hopefully, fingers crossed, of just me sitting and talking to the camera. I love like what Jane Nicholson does, where she just like sits and talks for ages about a thing.
She's great.
She's so great, and I want to try and do that. So that's the main stuff. And then I am going to TwitchCon Amsterdam. I'm going to be there all of the time. I am doing a cosplay for one of the days. So if you see me, tell me how good it is. I worked really hard on it. And yeah, that's the main stuff. And I'm really excited to get back into streaming, hopefully in July. But yeah.
Now, I will just say, I just came to the shocking realization that we skipped 2 questions during the interview. And do you have time?
I've got time. If you've got time, I've got time.
All right, we'll go back, because as soon as you started talking about cosplay, I was like, wait, there was a question about cosplay. And never got to
I cut it for time, and I was like,
I thought the same. I was like, I'm not going to mention that.
Yeah, we went on for a while about like all the things that make Holly sad about being a privileged creator.
Okay, well, you know what? Rewind. We'll just shove this in earlier in the audio version, but for the live watchers, you get to have this extra special bit now. Right, so I absolutely adore your cosplay and makeup looks, whether it's Lola Rabbit, humanized Lola Rabbit, Poison Ivy, Wanda Maximoff. Every time one pops up on my Twitter feed, and it makes me smile a little bit more, brightens my day. So how do you go about putting together your cosplays, and is there a lot of planning to it, or is it more spur of the moment? The idea is how do you go about that? And No, go ahead. I was just also going to ask you, got anything cool coming up with your cosplays?
Yeah. So I think when I first started doing it, it was mainly just like just buy stuff, and if it's not perfect, Photoshop it to be the right shade or that kind of thing. Like I don't like entirely change colors of things, but I will, like if the red's like not entirely right, I'll like tweak it. And it wasn't very like creative. It was very just like try and replicate an exact look as best as you can with as little money as possible. And I was very lucky that I had a really supportive fan house community who sort of helped me be able to afford continuing to do that with like nicer outfits and stuff. And then what I started to branch into was more of like trying to creatively like capture the essence of a character. So like for Poison Ivy, for example, I didn't copy an exact like Poison Ivy outfit. I just thought to myself, like, if I was like making like, if I was doing a character design of Poison Ivy, like what would I do? And like trying to do that in like a fun, creative way, which is a really fun way of like flexing my creative muscles while still not like handcrafting things, you know? And most recently what I have been doing is, and so I'm doing for TwitchCon Amsterdam one, because most of my cosplays have always been digital and like photo shoots and stuff. So if a wig doesn't fit me, it's fine. You can't see the back. It's fine. But for this one, I'm trying to make it look like really good in person as well. So I am, I've got a wig and I'm going to like fix it up. Like a YouTube tutorial is going to tell me. I spent like ages looking for a good jacket, and I took it to a tailor so it would fit me. And I'm like dyeing stuff as well to get it to be the right color. So I am very excited to be getting into that. And it's fun. It's fun so far. I don't think I'll ever be one of those cosplayers who like handcrafts things. But I do enjoy like making stuff work or researching things and finding things and that sort of thing. And I think that when I was younger, cosplay felt very not gatekept, but like out of reach, because I thought that you had to either be rich and be able to buy the whole thing, or you had to be able to make it, and I couldn't do either. And it's been really fun sort of doing the aesthetic reimaginings or buying some things, but also tweaking them here and there in ways that I can. So yeah.
That's very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing your cosplay at TwitchCon Amsterdam.
An upcoming one that I have is being Bella Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village. So that's fun.
I love it. I love it.
Fantastic. Everyone loves her so much.
As they should.
I know diversifying your income is something that you've spoken about, which ties in nicely with the current role as community director at FanHouse. I'd love to know more about that and why diversifying your income is really a good idea considering the current online content creation landscape.
Yeah. So I've actually been promoted-ish. It's more like a lateral move, but I do creative product marketing now at FanHouse, so I don't do community stuff like socials anymore. It's very recent, so don't worry. But I do more like educational resources and stuff like that for FanHouse. And I think that it's interesting. I think diversifying income is one of those things that can lead to creative burnout really easily, where it's like you feel like you need to make everything for a million platforms, but you can't afford to like hire an editor, but also you don't have the time to edit something for every single platform. And it's just like a vicious cycle. But I do think it's really important, especially considering like we're either in one or it's coming, recession vibes. I do think that it is really important to have some kind of guaranteed supplementary income when you are a creator. So I think it's really important to not just be on Twitch for monetization. Like I think you should have an alternative platform like a Patreon, a Ko-fi, a FanHouse, whatever, or be doing freelance social media work on the side, which isn't like that guaranteed. It's freelance, but it is something that like you have a very low like difficulty point of entry to. If you are a content creator already, like getting freelance social media jobs, you have like a better shot than someone who isn't doing social media as a job already, basically for themselves as a brand, you know? And I think that it is also right now, I think that it's really important that if you do have like a full-time income or a part-time income, this is totally me, but I'm personally prioritizing that over my content creation right now in terms of like where my energy is going. I'm not trying to get back into doing full-time content creation because I don't think it's just the timing is like not there. And I'm in a position where I can stay in my full-time role. So I'm doing that at the moment. And yeah, it's been difficult because, you know, there's only so many hours in a day and it is hard to not be able to spend time doing like fun creative stuff and that kind of thing. But I'm very lucky in that my job kind of intersects into the creator sphere. So I get to still, you know, not entirely have like cut myself off from the content creation environment, which I didn't really want to do. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lovely.
Okay, Harley, just as a quick reminder, since we like rewound and did all this timey-wimey stuff.
And the income question that you asked me like half an hour ago.
So, where can people find your content?
Right. Okay. So what it was is Twitter and Instagram. And I also have a bunch of my sites on my Linktree where I post my photo shoots and that kind of thing. My Linktree is also Breadwitchery. And mainly on Twitter right now and also on YouTube under Breadwitchery. And I'm looking to upload fun little YouTube videos on YouTube soon. So I really appreciate any subs because they're a little reminder for my little brain of a little dopamine hit of like, you should do, hey, there's the carrot, donkey, let's get going. So yeah.
Hell yeah. And my wonderful, wonderful co-host, where can people find your content and what have you got coming up?
You can find me at Luke Boogie Games on Twitter. Everyone else is Luke Boogie. I stream Monday through Thursday, half one UK time onwards, and we are currently going through like a Stardew Valley phase, but it's modded and everything's furry related, and I'm terrified it's awoken something in me. But let's gloss over that. And that's kind of. I've got a couple of secret projects that are not quite finished up, but I'm very, very excited to announce them in the near future.
Wonderful. And of course, you can always find me at twitch.tv/Miabyte, where I'm just going to be doing whatever comes to mind. Power Simulator, more stuff with other VTubers. Like My
I just
fuse
think
is very
Mia should
short.
be allowed to do whatever she wants. I just simply
Honestly,
think-
yeah. Every day on the front page of Twitch, please, Twitch, just put
Mhm.
me there and just let me bore
Yeah.
people to tears. It's gonna be great. Sorry, no, but yeah, we're gonna be doing some cool games. I have Final Fantasy VII Integrate, a playthrough of that currently going on. The bonus content on there with Yuffie. That's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's me. So Luke and Harley, thank you so much for joining me today. And of course, a shout out to Jenn from Xbox who joined us earlier too. But I hope you all had fun today.
Yeah,
Have a
I
great
did.
time.
Thank
It's
you so
lovely.
much for having me. It was really, really fun.
Yes. So we will be back in 2 weeks' time with the next episode of the Gaming Podcast Live. It's going to be a much fun time. I don't know who's going to be on it yet, but probably somebody cool.
It'll be grand. However, Mia, that's not all. What's coming up this week on Let's Go Gaming?
We don't have a confirmed guest for Let's Go Gaming yet, but that's going to be potentially this Wednesday at 8 p.m. UK time. It's our show, Let's Go Gaming. We hang out with queer content creators and we just exist. We just play video games and we raise money for charity at the same time.
You'll be
It's
there,
definitely-
so I'm already on board.
Heck yeah. We're going to be doing Sea of Thieves. I don't know who yet, but we'll figure that out when we get there. We were supposed to do it last week, but again, servers were down, so that's what we're going to be doing. So make sure you tune into that at twitch.tv/gaming mag, which is GAYMINGMAG, and don't miss out.
You can also follow the Game Mag channel here on Twitch or subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of these amazing shows. And of course, apologies. And of course, the podcast can be listened back at any time on all major podcast platforms. If you're listening here now, come on over to Twitch to watch us live. Just head to twitch.tv/gaming mag. GAY.
Oh, yes. GAY. It's important. It's important.
Yeah. Also,
Yes.
it's like gaming.
It's like gaming.
Whoa,
Yeah, like we're
that-
gay.
That is just hitting me now. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Crazy. I know. A lot of people don't get it.
It's very subtle.
Yes, everything Gaming Mag does is very subtle.
very
I think that's quite on brand. Right. This has been fantastic, but we do have to go. In the meantime, everybody, don't forget to keep reading Gaming Magazine, watching all the shows, doing all the things. There's a whole thing now. There's gaming ambassadors now too. You can go and check out. I misspoke there. So go and do that. But until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.